Our program today has two entertaining stories from Haiti, folk tales, and a song. Now, they come from this book entitled The Magic Orange Tree and Other Haitian Folk Tales, collected by Diane Wolkstein. Diane Wolkstein was my first professor of storytelling years ago, and we became friends, and I admired her very much. Where these stories in this book came from is Diane went to Haiti. I think she's in the end maybe 20 times, but when I took her course years ago, she had been one time and had collected stories that people were telling outdoors after their work was done during the day, and in the evenings they would gather together, adults and children, all different ages, and the adults would tell the stories. Here's a picture of Diane recording the stories on a tape recorder, after which she would translate the stories from the Creole language into English. And before each story, she would describe who told the story and how they told it. The first story I'm going to tell you is entitled Two Donkeys. Now, I want to tell you this story about two donkeys. So the custom in Haiti is, if I want to tell a story, I'm supposed to say creak. And if you want to hear the story, you're supposed to say crack. Let's practice. I'll say creak, you say crack. All right, now we're going to do it for real. So I want to tell the story called Two Donkeys. Creak. I think I heard you say crack. Good. There were once two donkeys, a male donkey and a female donkey. They lived where there was plenty of grass and daisies for them to eat. It was on a little grassy hillside where they lived. They were always together. They enjoyed rubbing each other's long necks with their heads. They enjoyed lying in the grass and rolling on their backs at the same time. They were always together and were very happy until one year there was no rain. There were no plants. There was no grass. At last the male donkey said to the female donkey, "If it goes on like this, you and I will not survive. I have a plan. I will change myself into a human being, into a man, and you change yourself into a woman. We will go into the villages, and I will find a place to stay and work to do so that I can be paid and buy food. And you do the same thing. Find a place for yourself to stay." Well, the female donkey agreed because she couldn't think of anything else they could do under the circumstances. And so they changed themselves, and the man, that was the male donkey, went down into a village and quickly found a place to stay and work to do. The female donkey quickly went down into a village, and she was so beautiful. A farmer saw her and married her that very evening. 6 months went by, and the male donkey was still a man working at his job, and the female donkey was still working for the farmer, keeping the house, cooking the meals, working in the garden. Rain began to fall. Springtime had come again. And so the male donkey changed himself back into a donkey and hurriedly ran back up to the hillside where they had lived before. But she wasn't there. Her name was An, and he decided he should go from village to village calling her until he found her. So he would say, "An, An, springtime has come again. The rain has returned. An?" No answer. He went to the next village. Maybe you can help him call her. "An, An, springtime has come again. The rain has returned. On, on. At last he came to the village where she was living. At that moment she was peeling mangoes for her husband's dinner. Suddenly she heard, on, springtime has come again, the rain has returned. When she heard that voice, she knew who it was. Her ears began to grow. Her arms grew long, and a tail began to stick out underneath her skirt. In the meantime, her husband, the farmer, was out doing his work and said to himself, "It's time for me to eat my midday meal. And my wife had told me she would bring it out to me. I wonder what has happened. I'll go home and check." So as he was going home, he suddenly looked at his front door, and out of the front door came a female donkey going, hee-haw, hee-haw. He stared, and she ran right up to a male donkey who was coming through the gate, so happy to meet her, and they both went, hee-haw, hee-haw. The farmer stared as the two donkeys reared up on their hind legs and began to rub each other's long necks with their heads. He saw them as they ran joyfully out of the village and up to the hillside where they had lived before. The farmer didn't know what to think about this, but he went inside the kitchen to look for his wife, and she wasn't there. And amazingly, he looked all around the kitchen, and every pot and pan and every plate and dish, they were all broken. The man did not know what to think, but the two donkeys were very happy, and they lived together for a long, long time. And that is the story of two donkeys. Now the song I'm going to sing today is called The Donkey Song. I found it on the Magic Orange Tree CD by Diane Wolkstein. It was originally made into a popular song in 1956, a long time ago, by Harry Belafonte, and it has a calypso beat. Bray, in the song Donkey Will Jump and Bray, Bray means hee-haw. Donkey will jump and bray, let him bray, let him bray. Donkey will jump and bray, let him bray, let him bray. Now I tell you in a positive way, don't tie me donkey down there. For me donkey will jump and bray, don't tie me donkey down there. Donkey will jump and bray, let him bray, let him bray. In Haiti, long ago, there was a king who loved dancing more than anything else in the world. He would like to have professional dancers perform before him every night of the week. But he was soon running out of money in his treasury to pay them. He knew he would have to think of a way to get dancers without having to pay. One evening when he was out in his garden, he made up a song. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. Samba, oh, samba, samba dance, samba dance, samba dance, samba dance. What a wonderful song I have created, the king said to himself. Who but me could write a song so excellent? But I need a dance to go with my song. I must create a dance. And so he did. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. Samba, oh, samba, oh, samba dance, samba dance, samba dance, samba dance. What a dance I have created, he said to himself. Who but me, the king, could think of a dance so excellent? I know what I'm going to do. I will tell all the people of the land that anyone who can come to the palace and perform the Kokyoko just the way I have created it, I will give them 50 guilders in a bag. And that is 50 pieces of gold in a bag. An announcement was sent out to all the people in Haiti, and soon they were lined up to dance before the king. They would come and dance, and some of them didn't get any of the steps right, and some of them got maybe this part right. But the rest was not correct. And so the king would get very excited if he thought somebody was beginning to get it, but they didn't get all the steps right, just one or two. Now the king did not want to forget the steps to his own dance. So every night he would go out into his garden and practice the steps so that he would not forget them. One night, the king did not realize that his gardener, who was named Melisse, was out in the garden hiding behind a tree, carefully watching as the king did the steps to the Kokyoko. Now, Melisse hurried home and told his wife, Madame Melisse, I was watching the king, and now I know the entire dance, all the steps. But his wife said, you cannot go and dance those steps before the king because you are his gardener and he would be suspicious that you had spied on him. You are right, said Melisse. I know what I will do. I will teach the dance to my friend Boukie, and he can dance before the king and win the money. Good idea, said Mrs. Melisse. So early the next morning, Melisse hurried over to Boukie's house. Boukie was just finishing his breakfast, and Melisse said, Oh, Boukie, I have a wonderful idea for you. It's a wonderful idea that's going to make your life so much better. Oh, no, said Boukie, because every time Melisse had a wonderful idea for Boukie, it seemed to be nothing but trouble. Oh, Boukie, listen. I know all the steps to the king's dance, the Kokyoko. I will teach them to you, then you can dance before the king and get the bag of gold. Wouldn't that be good? Well, Boukie thought about it. He needed the gold, for he had many little Boukies to feed, just as Melisse had many little Melisses to feed. And so he agreed that he would learn the dance. Good, good, said Melisse. Every day I will teach you a step, and we should be ready soon. So they started on the first step. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. So you try it now, Boukie. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. 3 weeks later, Boukie knew all the steps to the dance. And so he got into the line with all the other contestants. And at last it was his turn. He bowed before the king and began to do the dance. It was the correct dance, but it was a very big Boukie who was doing it. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. Kokyoko, samba, now I dance like this. Samba, oh samba, oh samba, dance, samba, dance, samba, dance. Samba dance. The king was amazed. This large, awkward man had gotten all of the steps to the Kokyoko exactly right. They were very clumsily danced, but the steps were correct. So he gave Boukie the sack of money. Boukie came running out of the palace. Melisse, Melisse, he said, I've won the bag of gold. Very good, Boukie, said Melisse, very good. Let's go home. Now, as they were going through the forest on their way home, suddenly Melisse stopped and he said, Boukie, let's learn a celebration dance. This is such a happy time for you. I'm going to teach you a very, very easy celebration dance. Okay, said Boukie. Melisse said, this is the dance. If you have no sense, put your sack on the ground and dance. If you have no sense, put your sack on the ground and dance. Oh, that's easy, said Boukie. Let me try it. Let's see. If you have no sense, put your sack on the ground and dance. If you have no sense, put your sack on the ground and dance. That's easy, said Boukie. I can do that. And so he was trying so hard. He closed his eyes and said, if you have no sense, put your sack on the ground and dance. If you have no sense, put your sack on the ground and dance. I did the dance, Melisse, Melisse, Melisse. Melisse wasn't there, and neither was the sack of gold. Melisse, said Boukie, I tried to warn you, Boukie, cried Melisse as he ran home with Madame Melisse, with lots of gold to feed all of the little Melisses.